So hello everyone. Yeah,
Hello, everyone. Good evening to everyone.
yes, good evening to us. So yes, by the way, just to let you know, we are wearing pink because the title in Slay is color pink. So
Yeah.
that's the reason behind it. And then,
Yes.
so yes, welcome again to another live show where we're going to be talking about Slay by Brittney Morris. Okay, so there's the book,
Yeah.
a physical
Uh,
copy of it.
let's. And ang ganda ng cover. Like, look at
Cause
this.
it's cause it's lace.
Yeah.
Yeah, bongga, bongga,
So, yeah.
hardcover.
Yeah.
Uh,
I bought it sa the bargain reader on Shopee.
yeah. Okay, so before we begin, a little disclaimer: the views of the hosts do not reflect those of the co-host, the book, the author, the book club, the publisher, and
Yes.
okay. So begin Slay. It is about a girl named Yena. So she is a gamer and she's also a game developer, and she decided develop or create this game for like especially deaf folks, where they can have sort of a safe space. So she is like also a high school student in a predominantly Caucasian or white environment in Metro Seattle, Washington, and so that's like the environment that she's in. And then one day there was this like sort of troll that was like threatening her and all that because of there was a murder that happened with one of the players of Slay. So that's kind of like pretty much how the story is, or the story revolves. So yeah, yeah. So unang tanong, gusto ko si Ray muna yung sumagot.
Ako. With my, ano yung overall rating ko with this one?
Oo, kasi gusto ko muna marinig sa'yo.
Actually, I really am afraid of my rating kasi I actually saw the rating sa Goodreads and mataas siya, in fairness. And I truly understood why. But, reading the book, I really felt like, just a disclaimer, no? That is just my opinion lang naman, no? So, I really believe that this book is not really written for me. Kumbaga, it was not written for me as a reader. Hindi ako yung proper audience for this one. But I really do learn a lot with this book. I learned a lot of the things about Black people. And somehow it really is a good representation then towards the end of the book. But there is just really, the thing here is, I'm looking something with the book. I'm looking for something with the book that I did not get. So I will discuss it siguro later with our discussion. But again, I'm gonna give this, I believe, a 3 stars. But with our live, siguro pagka mataas yung sa'yo, Luis, I'll consider it na pataasin, Yeah, but for me, when I finished the book, I really felt like it was good, but it was, I told myself like, this is the book that I'm not the proper audience, kumbaga. So yeah, again, I give it a 3 out of 5 stars.
Intriguing. Ba't kaya hindi si Ray yung proper audience? Naintriga ako doon, Naintriga ako doon.
Mm.
Ako, pakiramdam ko ngayong taon na ito, ang bait-bait ko sa mga libro. Kung nung nakaraang buwan, like I gave Between Shades of Grey like 5 out of 5. And this one, I gave it
5 stars. 4.25. 4.25 out of 5 stars.
another 5 out of 5
Mm.
for
Five,
me.
five. Oh, 5 out of 5.
My
Yeah.
God, it's my favorite.
Mm.
Yay.
Mm.
Once I ko parang bait ko ngayon taon. I feel like it's so nice this year. It's kind of like
Yeah.
weird.
Mm-mm.
So yun. So I think
Mm.
maybe those questions will be answered as we go along.
Okay.
Okay, so all right. So my next question, I think maybe this might be something that Ray would like make him explain why he gave it like 3 out of 5. So what did you think of the characterization of the characters? In other words, for other readers, they may consider this as like, what did they think of the characters?
Mm-mm. Yeah. When it comes to the characters, you know me, Luis. I really do love character development. I am a character-driven reader. So for me, it was good. It was actually good. I liked as I mentioned, I liked the representation. I also like the friendship pala. Ha. And this is actually the book na I was really amazed kasi I was actually thinking that this is a YA contemporary. So I'm looking forward na maybe there will be like romance or like a hard-hitting romance toward the book because this is actually categorized as like Ready Player One meets The Hate You Give. So for me, sabi ko baka mamaya may romance or may something na gano'n. But I was really shocked kasi wala talaga siyang romance. Parang hindi siya parang focus with the romance, and it's really more pinakita sa libro yung importance about black people, about racism, about the community, about, everything about the society as a group. So I think the characteristics of each character resembles with the author because the author is black, and somehow this is her debut novel, and I was really enjoyed with the characters, to be honest. There are just really some things that I'm looking forward na parang the reason why I gave it a 3 stars because again, this is categorized as like a gaming book, but somehow I really felt that there are just really things like gaming references that I wanted to be elaborated, that I wanted more from the story, but somehow it went down, and it's really just really more of again with the characteristics of the black people as a the main plot of the story. So I think yun talaga yung reason ko, Luis, kung bakit ko siya hindi nabigyan ng 4 or like 5 stars. It's because um as a reader, I was expecting something like the game itself, but it really turns out that it's more or it's not really the main focus of the story. So when it comes to the setting of the story, that's what I wanted more, like the world itself, like the world of the game, the game with which is our title, the Slay. Diba? Slay is the game. So I really wanted that portion of the book. That's why I did not give it like much more higher rating.
Yeah. It was interesting because I haven't read
Mm,
Ready Player One yet.
mm,
So I think
mm,
maybe that's why this kind of helps. And in
mm,
terms of like the gaming aspect, that's what
mm,
amazed me. Like,
mm,
and from the get go, when I was reading like the first chapters, I was like, I love that game. And if I
mm,
can be a part of that game, then
mm,
that would be like a
yeah.
lovely experience it's going to be. So I think in terms of the aspect of the when it comes to the gaming part, I mean, I think it works for readers that are
Mm,
not if because another thing I guess it's kind of like my pet peeve if things go a little too technical. So I think that's like the good thing about it. Although did she did say some like technical stuff about like the things that she needs to have, like the mother ROM and all that stuff, and even towards the latter parts, like giving out the servers, like the deal her pact with the who. I think that's a part of it, and I guess the whole probably the Ready Player One might have like affected it for some readers, whoever is looking at it that matter why they whatever reasons they have for their experience for the book. I think that affected it. But to someone like me who hasn't read it, then I think that's why it didn't really like bother the whole gaming aspect of it. Because I know like whenever somebody talks about Slay, the way that they would give synopsis would be like, it's about a girl, she's a gamer, blah blah blah, and then there was this something that happened. I think I even forgot about that part where someone was killed. All I know is that there is a troll who was. So I
yeah.
think it focused. I was getting into that. Like, okay, who is? There was this like troll who was trolling the spaces. So, and in terms of characterization, I like the fact that it showed the whole like it's not a monolith. thing because we get to see characters from different, like their characterization from different areas. We have um, Jalen, who is like a trans queer or trans woman character who is not really yet out with their parents or with her parents, because I know Jalen uses she as pronouns. And then also you have, of course, Dr. John, who comes off this like sort of kind of like a centrist kind of you know person. And then you have like Malcolm, who is kind of a little bit more radical in terms of like his views. And then we have like, of course, what you call this? Of course, Kiara's sister Steph, who's kind of like very strong, has a very strong personality, kind of like, you know, very fierce, which I kind of like. What else? Who else? And of course, the lawyer, the attorney. Like that's really another one. Like you can see like the like even, and let's not go too far, like amongst us Filipinos, like I mean, especially with today's climate, we're like not the same. We are bound. I mean, each group of person is not really doesn't think the same way when it comes to certain issues. And personally, for me, that's what I like. Whenever I watch those documentaries of like about group of people, say whether indigenous or like Asians, whatever part of Asians or East Asians, Southeast Asians, etc. And like how you get to see how they think differently. I enjoy watching those kind of like discussions or like Spectrum Jubilee YouTube videos. And this book kind of like showed that to us a lot more, like how they think different. Kiara's kind of like has a different thought or has a sort of like she has certain things that she like agrees upon, and there's certain things that she doesn't. Like she's kind of like she has this like own paradigm compared to, let's say, Malcolm or Steph or her parents, and or even Dr. John as well. So yeah, yeah, and to me, I just wanted to know more stories from these people, which I'm gonna ask you later. We're gonna
Yeah.
talk about that later. Pag-usapan natin yan mamaya.
Mm.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to say before we proceed to the
Yeah.
next
Yeah.
question?
Yeah. Actually, yeah, I totally agree with you with ano, sabi ko nga na ano, talagang the character development of each character was good and the representation was well represented talaga because we have different countries, 'di ba? Kumbaga, I actually listened to the audiobook
Yeah,
pala for this
Claire,
one.
Claire, another
'Di ba
one.
Claire is
I
from
like,
France, London.
yeah,
Oh,
and she's like
yeah, 'di ba?
biracial, and I like.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Mhm.
before we continue, I just forgot. Sorry, my bad. Claire,
Mm.
yeah, like she's
Yeah.
like biracial, and she has this like
Mm.
this. It was talked about like the whole one drop rule
Mm.
and all that. So I just found it fascinating, like
Yeah.
people coming from like a predominantly Caucasian kind of like, and like
Yeah.
what were the circumstances involved with them. So like,
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. Tsaka talagang super parang global talaga siya na iba't ibang lugar yung ano, yung setting ng story. So, yeah.
yeah. Yan. So ang ating pangatlong tanong. Okay, this one is a spoiler. Okay, so you can, if ever you're watching this on replay, you can just like fast forward or something. So, did you figure out who was Dread all along? You.
Mm, yeah, yeah, I really na-feel ko na siya pero, hindi ko talaga siya parang as in 100% parang nahulaan. Parang may motive, yes, may motive siya um, pero I was not really shocked with, the revelation, the twist at the latter part of the story. I really knew that, there is something wrong with Dread talaga. So, ikaw ba, Luis? Have you figured it out?
Actually, isip ko talaga mas siya sa una. Pero parang yung pagkukwento ni Kiera, to verity na naman. Like, the way Kiera was like, sharing her thoughts, it's kind of like, she was sort of convincing you, oh my god, it was, what was his name again? The white guy again. What was his name? Like, um, yeah, like the white guy.
What?
Sorry, hina ko talaga sa hina ko
Uh,
talaga sa pangalan. Willen nga ba hindi, Will nga ba yun? Sorry, medyo ano,
I really forget. I'm not really good with ano din character's
with
name
names.
pagka hindi siya main.
Oo. So, akala ko talaga siya kasi yung ano, yung mas parang nagpa-kumbinsi sa'kin, the one that convinced me more that it was, that it was like that person, okay, was like when she was saying about the lines that this person uttered when they were in the house. Um, so yeah. So that's at first I thought it was him, and then I was like, when towards the end when it was revealed, I'm like, okay, I knew it. I mean,
Yeah.
with more of like the way that they're talking about like the whole like with Kiera makes him think like, oh, he doesn't want black people to succeed and kind of like wants them to go back to their roots and be like their own. Then or that it's kind of like a bit of a separatist kind of statement, like that statement of Malcolm. So it's like I knew it was like okay, I was right all along. I should have like stick with that because like even the whole sort of like how would you get a passcode? So
Yeah.
like unless if like this kid yung kaibigan ng kapatid niya
Ah,
napakahusay na hacker.
yeah.
So,
Usong-uso yan sa gaming, mga hacker.
oo. So yun. So, okay. Thoughts on Kira and Claire's friendship?
That's actually one big factor 'no, ang cute ng ano relationship nila na parang, you will really feel na kahit na online friend mo lang siya, it's really important din talaga na, it's because, there is actually like thousands of like people there like gaming, like, black people gaming in Slay pero 'di ba you have
Mhm,
that one friend that like closest friend na
mhm,
talaga na talagang she will stick you up until the end. So I think I really do like the relationship, with these two characters. It was
mhm,
something that is remarkable and something nakaka-enjoy while reading this book.
mhm.
How about you?
Yeah, me, I really found it like interesting. It's kind of to me, I kind of relate to that with like
Mm,
with what we're doing. FYI, just a little heads up. Ray and I have not seen each other online in
yeah.
person, in
Yes.
person, and so as the
Actually,
other folks.
kung hindi lang pandemic, for sure we've already met long, long ago pa. But because of pandemic,
Totoo.
so,
Mm-mm.
kami nga ni Dre, 'di ba? Dre of Reading Slum Dre, talagang, ano talaga siya, talagang sobrang higpit din bago kami nagkita.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Mm,
Parang
'di ba?
parang sa sitwasyon ko rin.
Oo, 'di ba? Kahit magkapit-bahay lang yung city natin.
Oo nga, oo nga.
Mm,
Ayun, nakakatuwa lang. Tapos parang
mm,
talagang suportanta ka gano'n ang
mm,
kanilang take. They
yeah,
like support each other a lot. So, yeah,
mm,
that's what I like. And then the next would be if Brittney, and this is what I want to like definitely share about when I was reading this book. If Brittney Morris will write another novel about any of the characters, who do you want, or who do you think, or who do you think
I
should they write about, or who do you want to see more?
I like yung sa France, ano nga ba yun, yung girl?
Cicada or Claire?
Si Claire, I think it's Claire.
Claire,
Yes,
yes, it's
Claire.
Claire. Claire
Yeah,
is the French biracial
in
girl.
the French variation, right? I really do love that. Gusto ko siyang makita. I wanted to follow her. I wanted to see all of the places in France and how the game works there. Kasi it's of course, 'di ba, ang mga tao doon is not black, 'di ba? So how is it? Like how can she have this kind of community there? Na how can she discover herself also? So I really do wanted to have the story of her, like, like a parang ano lang siya, kahit novela lang of her.
Hmm. Yeah.
Ah,
And
ikaw
yes,
naman.
and to me, I actually have two answers for this.
Hmm,
Um, one would have to be Jalen. because I think it's very important right now for like stories like Jalen to be released, not just like, especially when you talk about intersectionality and all. I think that it would be great to see more about his story. Maybe it could be an opportunity for Brittney Morris to collaborate with a trans black author. You know, that another trans black author could be put into the spotlight and could have more exposure with that project. I mean, just to kind of like, to me, to give more like sort of justice to Jalen's character. I think it would be very, and it would make like the research and the experiences much more like much more accurate or more respectful if they bring in, let's say, a black trans woman to write the story about Jalen. Ideally, somebody who grew up like in the South, like the southeastern states in the United States, like because Jalen is from Louisiana, so like New Orleans. So somebody, or maybe like that's the ideal, of course, New Orleans, Louisiana, from the state of Louisiana. But it could be probably somebody who's like black and trans, a black and a trans woman, or maybe trans queer could be. But yeah, along those lines. And who knows? Like I said, it could be an avenue for more authors to be like more known and more exposed, because there's pretty much out there, and I think Brittney can look for that author. And I'm definitely going to be looking forward to read that story. I want to know more about it, like what were the circumstances involved, like, and also talking about I even watched this from a like, pero may napanood ako doon sa isang parang documentary, yung mga, may kasama din mga Jubilee, like, they mentioned about like black church, like churches with black people. I think it's very interesting to see like in a book, in a fiction book, how it is going to play out. So it's going to be very interesting. And another one that I want to hear would be, or want to read more about, would be Dr. John, because I think like his views is something that you know people can kind of like consider. Who knows, maybe like I want to know more about like why he thinks the way that he did. Why did he deliver those answers that he delivered? So I want to know what was in his head, what were the circumstances, what was his story basically. So ano bang kwento niya? Ayun.
And ano pala, I would also recommend din, no, speaking of documentaries, like with the TV show, I don't know if you've heard this, which is yung Family Reunion. It's actually a story about the family. They're all black, and ang ganda siya. It's a parang comedy sitcom, but may atake siya of racism, may atake siya ng different like aspects of being a black in a black community. So I really do recommend that TV show on Netflix.
Okay. So, and then moving on to our next question. Any games that reminded you of... Ito, talagang mas sa tingin ko sa'yo ko ito
Yeah,
itatanong kasi ikaw medyo
yeah,
gamer ka.
it's
Ako hindi
actually
masyado.
Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, the first
Ay,
time that I
oo.
see na sinabi na cards defending, I knew it. It's Yu-Gi-Oh. Like I really feel like when you tap the card and then somehow may maga-appear na like 3D 3D character. I think that's what I'm seeing with Slay also, na parang that's how the game works, na parang they are defending through cards, they are battling, like there is like yung 3D characters, monster like fighting. Parang ganun yung naiisip ko, parang ganun yung na-visualize ko like with the Yu-Gi-Oh TV show. Parang ganun siya. So yeah, I don't know if that's how you saw it, but with Yu-Gi-Oh, sabi ko kasi cards yung agad yung na ano ko, no. Noong una sabi ko baka card captor Sakura. Sabi ko, hindi, hindi, hindi yan. Parang sabi ko, hindi. Parang hindi naman. So sabi ko, I think it's really it's really Yu-Gi-Oh for me.
Oh,
Mm.
ayun. So, ako naman, yung nga,
Mm.
sang-ayon ako doon.
Mm.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Parang ipagka yung...
Yeah.
Pero ayun, naalala ko sa pag-Yu-Gi-Oh! Is parang may mga fusion.
Yeah, yeah,
Yung
mga
pwede kang
future.
magsama-sama ng mga
Kasi
cards.
dito 'di ba parang abilities ang natin, ang batayan with the game.
Oo, oo, yun. So, ayan.
Ayan. Tsaka din, parang lang din 'no, just to add 'no, kasi yung main character natin si I forgot her name, anong pangalan niya? Si
Kiara.
Kiera, si Kiera, 'di ba siya lang yung nag-develop nung game na yun na parang
Mm,
wala siyang kumbaga kasi as in random 'di ba?
mm,
No one knows she is a developer so talagang magaling talaga siya 'no,
mm,
parang she's really good when it comes to developing the game. Pero yun din yung nakita ko 'no na loophole
mm,
din na parang how did she get the money? To to create this wonderful sleigh, 'di ba, this wonderful game. So yun lang naman nakita ko dun sa
Nung,
ano, mm.
parang may nasabi siyang mga parang saving
Hmm,
whatever na ano,
mm,
tapos minsan nakakahingi din siya minsan sa magulang
hmm,
din niya minsan pero
yeah,
parang alam ko parang may nabanggit siya na oo, tawag dito na ano yun, yung basta meron siya
mm,
nabanggit tungkol sa ano, eh,
mm,
yung 'pag hindi ako 'pag umano na naman ako, wala na naman akong pambili nitong parang
mm,
motherboard,
yeah,
something like that.
mm, yeah,
So,
hmm.
ayun.
Ayun, pero yun lang, yun lang nakita ko parang kasi it's big kasi, eh, ang laki nung game, eh. Parang almost like thousands yung naglalaro. So,
Baka sugatan
parang feeling ko hindi kaya yun na mag-isa, parang hindi parang and she is actually still schooling, she has a boyfriend, 'di ba? Parang how did she squeeze everything in that one? Pero yun nga, pero again, 'di ba, it's not really the main focus of the story 'no, parang it's
mm,
really more of again the representation, the Black community na parang
oo, and
how kung
having
paano yung
their
galaw.
space
Oo, yung
and
parang
having their
gano'n.
space. So, yun yung
Yes,
pinaka naging ano niya, parang
mm,
having their ano. So,
yeah.
ayun tapos
Yun lang naman.
oo, gusto
Just
ko
to
rin din
add.
yung parang
Mm,
gusto ko rin
hmm,
yung parang pagtatapos niya, yung naging solusyon nila na ano, na tawag dito, um, yung their solution about like, okay, uh, this is now going to be an umbrella be in an umbrella of like let's say a multi-conglomerate. Parang kumbaga parang imprint. So
yeah,
parang
yeah.
kumbaga may imprint. So parang hindi na talaga yung ang galing lang. Ang galing lang nun. Parang okay, meron namang iba diyan, meron naman din kami ibang games. Ito part na 'to, especially for Black folks, ito puwedeng ito
Yeah.
for indigenous folks, ito puwede for East Asian, South Asian, Southeast Asian, gano'n. Tapos mga sub pa, let's say, kunyari ito for Black, for West African, gano'n. So parang baka maging gano'n ang ganda, galing lang. So ayun. Or
Yeah.
ito panglahatan kahit sino, kayo bahala.
Yeah.
Ayun, yung gusto ko yung naging gano'ng ano,
Yeah.
solusyon sa dulo. And okay, wow. In fair, to be fair, we planned a lot of like pointers, but we're actually
Mm,
ending a lot quicker.
yeah.
So, any similarities to any books that we discuss in BLouRay Book Club?
I don't know, parang wala. It's because it's different, no? It's a gaming. It's maybe ano, yung You Should See Me in a Crown because it's also talks about, Black people. So I think that's one factor. But when it comes kasi with and to be honest, like You Should See Me in a Crown is also a Feb 2021 BOTM. So yeah, I think that's one I can connect with this book. Other than that, parang wala naman na. Ikaw ba? Do you think any other aside with You Should See Me in the Crown?
I can consider this, of course, where you should see me in a crown because of the whole
Mm,
thing about being
mm,
oneself.
mm,
I think that's. I'm also trying to think for the others. I think I had one in mind, pero biglang nawala sa isip ko. Would pa sa You Should See Me in a Crown. Ano pa ba? Hmm. Siguro yung ano, hmm, yun but I think it's more of to be safe for now. You should see me in a crown.
mm.
You should see me in a crown because of like being oneself.
Yeah.
So parang,
Uh,
and I think yun talaga yung pinaka parang mauugnay ko dun sa dito sa libro na ito. Ayun. Ayun. Ayun.
ayan. Ayun, yan. 'Di ba? Ang saya-saya nun. Pero mas na-enjoy ko actually, sorry talaga. Mas na-enjoy ko yung You Should See Me in the Crown.
Sakto. Like, sakto lang.
Oo.
Parang,
Pero
Oo.
ano, para yung hardcover yung binili ko, with
May meron na namang ano, meron na namang ano, meron tayong guest audience na ambulansya. Diyan pa ba yung fire truck? Sige, sige. Take your time, take your time. Sabihin mo take their time. Puwede, sige, sige. Marami pa tayong oras. Hindi pa tayo nakaka-30
ang
minuto.
ang
Hindi pa tayo
tagal. Ay naku.
ayun. Tapos
Mm.
iniisip ko rin kasi kung sa pagdating dun sa pamilya, like the family dynamics of
Yeah,
it, I'm
oo, si
trying to
ano,
think about if it has
yung
a little
ano,
bit of, I believe in a thing called love or shine. I don't know, there's a little bit of that. Or
puwede rin yung
probably
kay
a little
Morgan Matson din, um,
yung save the
Save the
date.
Date,
Oo,
konti parang gano'n,
like,
konti lang. Pero friendship kaya, did we have like friendship book?
friendship kind of
Hmm,
trope. Parang hindi, parang
parang hindi 'no, parang
parang hindi, oo.
mm.
Pero siguro ano, siguro on the side of like, siguro itong maano ko lang maugnay ko na lang din, dun sa radio silence yung parang hidden identity, gano'n. So, gano'n lang. Ewan
Yeah,
ko,
I
yung parang
haven't
gusto
read it,
niya
so
oo, wala ka kasi nun. So, siguro dun sa radio silence sa gano'ng aspeto. Pero mas ano talaga ang pinaka-ano yung sa You Should See Me in the Crown, yung pinaka-mas since it's about like being oneself. So, and then being
yeah,
themselves, like I
yeah,
think any person can like relate on.
yeah, totally agree.
Okay. And then I think any additional like thoughts, any additional thoughts about the book? Wrapping it.
Ayun, yun,
Ayun,
ayun.
ayun.
Ayun,
Ay,
sabi ko nga ayun nga, parang hindi talaga siya for me. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot when it comes to the book. Pero ayun nga, pero ano, I mean, if you want the kind of story about, Black representation, about the representation itself, like if you want that kind of book, you can really check this book talaga kasi it's good. It's a good debut novel talaga. It's something na remarkable and again, mataas ang rating sa Goodreads nito. So I think I am one of the you know kaunti lang kami na talagang hindi talaga as in favorite. Pero again, I still recommend this book if you want that kind of story. So, yeah, ikaw ba, Luis? Since you really love the book.
Huwag kang mag-alala kasi may mga sa ngayon merong
Hmm.
330 330 nabulol pa ako mag-333 pa ako, 330 naman yung sasabihin ko. So there are like 330 people who rated it lower than you. So and these are coming from different people from different backgrounds. So you know,
Yeah.
but yeah, I really love like I know I did see a bit of those, but I felt like they weren't really and they weren't really that impacting for me to like even reduce the point because overall I was like all the emotions were coming and I was like I love the philosophies involved. I love Slay, I love the game, I love the world there, I love the different areas, desert, Fairbanks, which to be frank, I was one of those folks who thought about Fairbanks, Alaska, but what happens to be the skater and the swamp, and I forgot the others there, but yeah, I just love that. Tapos parang nga, oo nga, napalahas mo kay Yu-Gi-Oh!
'Di ba? Parang yun
Hindi ko
talaga yung
naisip,
naisip ko nung ano, nung sabi ko, Yu-Gi-Oh 'to."
ay, kasi parang medyo ano sila may ano talaga, may pisikalang ganapan. They have like
Mm,
they did like, oh,
yeah.
I love it.
It
Pero
was
pero
it
hindi
was
ko
good.
kaya mag-VR, pero hindi ko lang kaya mag-VR. Sinubukan
Yeah.
ko na sa may
Mm.
ano, sa may South Mall.
Nahilo ka 'no? Oh, 'di ba?
Pagkatapos parang sabi ko, "Teka, teka, teka."
Mm. Nakakahilo nga siya actually, oo. Mm.
Oo. Sabi ko, "Teka, teka, teka, teka." Sinubukan ko yun, nakita ko tapos sabi ko, "Masubukan nga." Gano'n.
Oo, oo, yun talaga sobrang ano siya, sanayan lang din.
Oo, di yata kaya ng mga mata ko.
Oo, true. Yun, pero masaya siya, masaya ang VR. So, talagang ano 'no, malay natin 'di ba, in the future may gano'n game, 'di ba, mag-create sila ng
Moy
gano'n, 'di ba,
Moy Moy
why not?
Lulumboy. Moy Lulumboy inspired. Talagang Moy Lulumboy. Nagpalang lang ako, para lang meron lang ma-hard copy lang.
Yeah, ayun. Maingay ulit, wait lang.
Sige, sige lang. Sali kayo. Sound effect, ganyan. Alright. Sa tapos na ang mga naka-mute pa
Hmm,
ayan, tapos na ang mga sound effects. So,
yeah.
overall, I give it 5. O ikaw, nagpalit na ba ang rating mo, Ray? O gano'n pa rin?
Gano'n pa rin.
Gano'n pa rin.
Gano'n
Ayos
pa
lang
rin
'yan.
siya,
That's
yeah.
just fine.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
fine.
oo. And it's still a good rating 'no, hindi ako masyadong harsh na 2-1, 'di ba? Kasi I did
Mhm,
enjoy it naman some parts. I just really somehow saw a lot of, like, things that
mhm,
somehow I wanted more, parang gano'n lang siya. Parang,
mm.
hindi talaga siya na super hit na parang katulad nung, ano ba yung BOTM natin before, yung Let It Snow, gano'n. Hindi naman gano'n ka-vibe,
Yung ano
'no?
pa
So
ba, yung mga One Day in December, yung mga nasa
yeah, 'di ba?
Disyembre, yan yung mga ayaw mo, eh.
Kaya feeling ko hindi talaga siya hindi ako ano, sanay sa December or like, Christmas book. So, yeah.
Christmas
Yeah.
books kasi may ano, may
Mm.
isa pang CH.
Mm.
So, wag mo rin basahin yung Something Borrowed. Wag din,
Oo,
kung gano'n. Wag mo na baka
ayun.
kahit panoorin din baka wag na rin din. Pero kung sanay ka naman panoorin,
Mm.
yung may mga kabit-kabit, ganyan-ganyan.
Ay ayan.
Yan, ayan.
Ayun.
Anyways, so that wraps up our discussion of Slay. So we're gonna be announcing the book of the month for the next month. Meron ka na bang kopya
Wala
nun?
akong copy, ang hirap makahanap ng copy,
Medyo,
to be
pero
honest.
yeah. Pero
Yeah,
that's fine.
I'm really waiting for ano, fully book. Kasi this next month daw, March. So, yeah, if you guys wanted to join us with our March live discussion, it's going to be You've Reached Sam by Dustin Tao. So, yeah, our March book of the month. So, wait lang tayo ng copy sa fully book. Talaga makakakuha tayo niyan, promise. Kasi nagre-replenish na sila since January. And it took like 5 to 8 weeks. So, malay natin, di ba, umabot
Oo,
ang physical
sana
book.
sana umabot ng physical copy.
Mm.
So, yes, si Dustin Tao, yan. Natuwa ako dun sa TikTok video nila. Ito para lang may mga oras pa naman tayo ng konti.
Mm.
Yung TikTok video nila ni Chloe
Mm.
Gong, nakakatawa yun.
Ay,
Nagbabasa
meron?
sila may kay Chloe yun pinost, tapos parang ano, binabasa ni Chloe yung You've Reached Sa, tapos si
Mm.
Dustin binabasa niya yung sequel nung This Violent or
Our
Violent
Violet
Evermore.
Mm.
Yun, ang cute lang nung TikTok video na yun.
Mm.
Tingnan niyo na sa Twitter ni Chloe.
Mm. At saka ano siya, debut novel din siya ni Dustin Tao.
Yes.
So, ayun.
Ang
Actually ano,
pinakita daw,
may arc ako no'n last year sa ano, sa ano ba
NetGalley?
'yun? NetGalley,
NetGalley.
oo. 'Yun yung parang debut ko na ano, nag-start ako mag-NetGalley. Tapos
Mm,
'yun yung unang book, ta's hindi ko naman nabasa hanggang na-release na siya,
ayan.
ayun.
Pero mababasa mo pa din naman, 'di ba? Kung sakali
Hmm,
mang worst
yeah.
case hindi pa umano.
Yeah,
Okay,
meron naman akong copy, nung ano,
oo.
nung book
So,
sa ano, on
yun.
my Kindle. So,
Ay, bongga,
yeah,
bongga
Kindle.
'yan. Ayan, bongga.
Promote ko
Anyways,
na rin 'no?
oo. Anyways,
Ayun,
so yeah, so that will be our book of the month for
mm.
March. Channel, PPA. So, ayan. Anyways, so now it's time for us to like promote Sockman. So I'll begin first. So you're watching right now in my channel, louisity. So my YouTube channel is louisity. Um, Twitter, Instagram, louisity underscore 524. Wattpad, louisity, and of
Mm.
course, Kumu, louisity.
Yeah, so mine is from book I have YouTube here, booktube, which is Reads PH. I have Twitter account, which is Read Reader, and on Instagram, which is Read.Reads. So yeah, follow, subscribe, and yeah.
Okay,
So
alrighty.
let's have a
So,
photo of.
yeah, okay. Hold on.
uh,
Hold on. Kunin ko lang tong
yeah.
notification. Okay. One, two, three.
Nakabikit pa ako doon. May mataba ako doon. Meron naman.
Let me just share a bit. Hold on. Again. I'm so excited for the next month.
Ayan, may mata naman ako. Okay.
Okay, dude. So yeah, so thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you again. I hope y'all are having a good evening. And yes, this slaved.
Yeah. So thank you guys all for watching, and we will see you soon on our live or on our next live discussion. So yes.
Thank y'all.
Thank you
Bye. Keep
all.
on
Bye bye.
slaying.